Welcome back. This is a continuation of 3.2 Day 2's notes. On question 4, they want us to find the equation of a line containing the points negative or 2 comma negative 2 and negative 2 comma 6, and they want us to express our answer in slope-intercept form. So again, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, where m is our slope and b is our y-intercept. However, if we're going to find an equation, we're going to be using point-slope form to find that equation of our line. So again, with point-slope form, hopefully you've written this down, we are going to be substituting in our y sub 1, our slope, and our x sub 1. The problem is, again, in point-slope form, you need to use your point and your slope. We are given 2 points, but we're not given our slope. So it's our job to find the slope. But because they gave us 2 points, we can easily find our slope. So if we go ahead and use the slope formula, and since we have 2 ordered pairs, I'm just right above them writing my first x and y value and my second x and y value. So I could actually use, again, from day 1, you've learned that the slope formula is your change of y's divided by your change of x's. So I'm going to calculate the slope given these 2 points, and once I have my slope, so again, I like to say use your outer shell. Now I'm going to take my y values and subtract them, so I have 6 and negative 2. My change of x values, I'm going to grab my x values, negative 2 and positive 2. Once I find my slope, I can use that and a point. So let's go ahead and simplify this. So 6 minus negative 2 is positive 8. Negative 2 minus 2 is negative 4. Reduce always whenever possible. My slope is negative 2 over 1, or negative 2. So I found my slope. My slope is negative 2. I'm going to use that slope and my point. Now you're like, well, which point do I use? It doesn't matter. I like to say the less you have to deal with negatives, the better. But if we can't avoid negatives, then it doesn't matter which one we use anyway. So for purposes of this illustration, I'm going to just go ahead and use negative 2 comma 6 as my point and the slope of negative 2 that we've calculated. So using point slope form, I'm going to write out y minus, so y sub 1, I'm going to use the 6, and my slope of m is negative 2, which we've calculated from right here, times the quantity x minus x sub 1, but I have negative 2. So again, it doesn't matter which ordered pair you use. Go ahead and simplify what you can as much as possible before you distribute. Right here, I had a minusing and a negative. That becomes a positive. Distribute that negative 2 to everything in parentheses, giving us negative 2x minus 4. Solve for y, getting it in slope-intercept form. I'm going to add 6 to both sides. Isolating that variable y in slope-intercept form finally leaves us with y equals negative 2x plus 2. All right. Next, we're going to find the slope and the y-intercept of 3x plus 2y minus 12. This, all we need to do is put it in slope-intercept form, because once we do that, we have our slope and our y-intercept, which is all they're asking us to find. So if you take this, which is already in standard form, and put this in slope-intercept form. So if we go ahead and subtract 3x from both sides, we have 2y minus 12 equals negative 3x. I can add 12 to both sides. Notice I'm moving that over because they are unlike terms. I don't want you to think you add them together. I have negative 3x plus 12. And finally, divide every single term by 2 and cancels to a factor of 1, and we are left with y equals negative 3 halves x plus 6. All right, So we wrote our equation in slope-intercept form, but we did not answer the question yet. The question says, find the slope and the y-intercept. Well, from this is our slope, this is our m value, and this is our b, which is our slope-intercept. So we could say that our slope is -3/2. Remember, it's always the coefficient. Our slope is always the coefficient in front of the variable x, never includes x. A lot of people get that wrong sometimes. And then our y-intercept, which is our b value, is equal to +6. And so we answered the question, putting it in slope-intercept form first and answering the question from the values we've calculated over here. Next, they want us to graph the function using slope and y-intercept. Okay, so going to change this pen and bring this graph down. So again, we've mentioned this before in chapter 2, that f of x is just a fancy way of writing in function notation. This really represents y. And this is already in slope-intercept form. It's just that they wrote it in a fancy schmancy way. So it's already in slope-intercept form. So that means we've already identified that our slope, which is the coefficient in front of the variable x, is already going to be 1. And our y-intercept is already this b value here, which is -2. So I like to say we're going to begin with our y-intercept, which is at -2 on the y-axis. And from there, our slope, which is 1/1, tells us to rise 1 and run across 1. So from here, we're going to go rise 1, run 1. Rise 1, cross right 1. Up 1, right 1. Up 1, right 1, and so forth. And then we're just going to draw our line, making sure it goes through all of those points and putting arrowheads in both directions. Okay. And we've identified our slope and our y-intercept, and we graphed our slope and y-intercept and created our line. And that is it for section 3.2, day 2. And we will be going over problems 29, 96, and 101A and B in class. That's it. Thanks.